So now let's start the class. So do you remember variable data types and everything? Do you have any doubts in this?
No, ma'am. Till operators we have done. No?
Yeah. So for iterative statements, we have stopped at for loop, right? Do you have any doubt in for loop?
Yes, yes. No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on to while loop. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we are moving on to the while loop. It is also used for the iterative statements. Okay. If you want to run some code for multiple times, you can use the while loop here. Okay. So in for loop, what we have done here, what is the value of 1 denotes here?
Start.
Okay. And as for 4,
that is to end. It will stop.
okay. So as for step,
if we want to skip in between, we need to give that step.
yeah, we are going to provide the increment and decrement value in the step. Okay.
Yeah.
So the same thing we are going to do in our while loop. Okay. As for the start value, we will provide it before starting the while loop. It doesn't mean that you have to start with 0. Okay. I'm simply providing I is equal to 0. As for the start value, you have to provide it at the beginning of the while loop. Okay. Then you have to use while I less than 10. Okay, here what will happen is it will stop at 10. Okay, so here we are providing the stop value. Then inside the while loop, what we are going to do is we are going to provide the task, this while loop that needs to be executed. Okay, for example, I want to print the I value. Print I. Okay, so it will print the I value till 10. Then as for the increment, okay, as for the increment, what you can do is you can have I equal to I plus 1. This one acts like a step value here. Okay, they both can do the same thing. The for loop and while loop can do the same thing. Only the syntax only will be changed. Okay, so now run this code. Here you can see it produce the output, starts at 0 and ends at 9. You are able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any doubts?
No.
Okay. Then we are moving on to the Python data structures. Okay. So here we are having list, tuple, sets, dictionary. There are 4 data structures we are having here. I will be discussing list with you. So with the help of this, you will be learning the tuple by yourself. Okay. And then I will be discussing dictionary here. Okay. So let's start this.
Okay.
First, we are going to provide a list. Okay. So first tell me, what is a variable?
Name like which changes?
Sorry. So what the variables can do?
Like name of the data.
Okay. So it will
Creating
store the
memories.
values, right? It will store the values in your system memory. So whenever we want, we can easily access the value. Okay. How many values a single variable can hold? I'm having variable name here. Okay. So Raj. So it can hold only Raj or it can hold multiple values. Okay. So the variable can hold only one value. Okay. In a variable, you can store only one value. If you want to store multiple values in a single variable, okay, in a single name, you want to store multiple values, you can use this Python data structures and arrays. Okay. So to define the list, you have to use the square bracket. Inside the square bracket, you can provide the values which we are going to store in the name. Here the name is called the list name. Okay. If you're going to store one value, that is variable. Here it is list name. If you provide values in the list, okay, how many values you can normally provide is that nearly 500,000 values. Okay. And if you provide a list with empty values, this list is called the empty list. It is called the empty list. If you don't provide any values inside the list, it is called the empty list. Okay. So here, let's say age equal to, so I'm going to provide value age is 23, 45, 67, 89. So like this, you can store multiple values here. And it doesn't mean that in list, you can only store the integer. You can only store the float. You can only store the string. Like it doesn't mean that you can only store the same type of data in the list. We can store all different types of data here. Here I'm having integer. I can even store string also here in this list. Okay. I can store float values in the list. We can store any type of data in the list. Okay. In arrays, you will be storing the same type of data. Okay. In list, you can store any type of data. Are you able to understand this?
Ma'am, once can you repeat?
Okay.
This.
So in a variable, we can store only one value. Okay. So in order to store multiple values, we are going to use this Python data structures, list, tuple, sets, dictionary. These are having different functions. Okay. We'll be seeing that. Okay. So first we are going to see the list. List always start with the square bracket. You can put all the elements inside the square bracket. So whenever your Python say this line, it will think, okay, it is a list. Okay. So inside the square bracket, you can hold any number of data. Okay, it can be integer, it can be string, it can be float values. Okay, doesn't mean that you have to store the same data type values in the list. You can store any type of data in the list. Okay, now are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, what are the functions of the list? Okay. So here I'm having the empty list. If you want to add some values to the empty list, what you can do is you can use the function append. You can use the function append. This append function will add the values at the end of the list. Okay. So here I'm having name. It is the empty list just because I don't have any values in the list. Okay. Now I want to add some values to the empty list. So what I can do is first you have to provide the list name. Here at which list we are going to add the value? We are going to add the values to the list name of name. Okay. So name dot. You have to use the dot operator here. Append. Inside the bracket, you have to provide the value which you are going to add in the list. If it is a string, you have to use quotations. If it is an integer or float, you can simply enter the value. Okay. So it's a name. So I'm going to use quotation. Okay. Now just print name. Run this program. So here it prints Arun. Okay. Likewise, you can add any number of values to the list. Okay. So if you want to add multiple values with the help of append, you can only add single values at a time. Okay, if you want to add multiple values at a time, what you can do is you can use the function extend. Okay, you can use the function extend. Then add comma, okay, dash, comma, from, comma, okay, run this program. Okay, it says error. List.extend takes exactly one argument, 4 given. Okay, so here you have to provide the square bracket here when you are using extend. Okay. Now run this program. So here it prints the value. Okay, so when you are using the extend, use the square bracket to add the multiple values. Okay.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's say if we use, now we already have this list ready.
Yeah.
For now, if I use it as, if I use append,
Yes.
right, will it change the entire list?
Sorry, sir. Where will you be using append?
After this, let's say after using extend, after this, if I say name dot append, and then I change into few variables, I mean, I just provide a list, right?
Inside the append, you want to provide a list.
The same way, so will it add or will it just remove everything on the previous
version?
Add.
It will add at the end of the list. It doesn't remove, it will add.
It will add end of the list.
It will add the element at the end of the list. For example, we are having Sita. Okay. Now let's run this. So it's added the Sita at the end of the list. It doesn't change the previous one.
Okay. So append will be just for it will, by default, it will be just adding the end of the list.
Yeah. By default, append and extend both will be adding the element at the end of the list. If you want to insert some new element, so here your list will always start at the index of 0. Okay. Arun, its index is 0. Raj, its index is 1. It's 2, it's 3, it's 4. At the third position, okay, I want to add some new value at the third position. What you can do is you can use the function insert. Okay. There you can provide the index number. So here I want to add at the third position. Third position in the sense, what is the index number of ROM?
0, 1, and 2.
Yeah. So index number of ROM is 2. Okay. So 2, comma. There I'm going to add some other name. Okay. So what should I add? Let me add my name. Okay. Now run this program. So the second position, my name will add it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how you have to add.
Delete something.
Like, yeah, you can use.
I don't want Raj.
You can use delete function is there, remove function is there, pop function is there. Okay. So let us see that. Okay, first are you able to understand these three concepts?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's move on to the another one. Okay. So first, if I want to traverse every element in the list, so I'm having these elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 elements in my list. Okay. So I want to print each and every element one by one. What can I do there? What can I do to print each and every element one by one by traversing my list?
While
loop. How to do that?
Yeah. I is equals to.
I is equal to.
I is equals to 0 means I equals to Arun.
Okay. So no. Here you are having index value, right? With the help of index value, you can traverse.
Okay.
That. So we can provide
So,
I is equal to 0.
0.
Okay. Then
While I less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I less
While
than 5.
I less
I less
than
than 5.
5. Why it is 5?
Because we have 5, no? Index 0,
0,
1, 2, 3,
1,
4, 5.
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But what will happen is if you provide 5 here, it will stop at 4.
Okay, it will stop. So 6.
Okay, then 6. Okay. Then colon
Print I.
and then print. Now, how you are going to
I.
access it? No, if you put I here, what will happen is it will print 0, 1, 2, 3. So I want to access the elements in the name. So how can I do that? Name square bracket I. Okay. So if I put name square bracket I, when it comes to name of 0, it will access Arun. When it comes to 1, Raj. 2, Bhuvi. Then Ram, Sila, Sita. Okay, then what should it do?
I is equals to I plus 1.
I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, so let's print this. Run this. So here you can see this. It has print all the elements here. You can do the same using the for loop. There is another way to access the list without using the index value. There is another way to access the list. Okay. So for that, what you have to do is for names in name. Okay. So what it will happen is it will access all the elements in the list without using the index value. Then print names. Okay. Sorry, you have to use bracket here. So this will also do the same thing. Okay. These are the two types how you can access the values in the list. Okay. Do you have any doubts in this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. So now what we are going to do is we are going to remove the element. Okay, we are going to remove the element from the list. Okay, for that we will be using some functions. So let me delete this. Okay. We will be using pop remove. Okay. I'll be showing you only one. Other two things you have to search and find the syntax for that. Okay. So do you know data structures? Like stack, queue?
No.
Okay, fine. So then let me explain it with this thing. We are having the list here. Okay. So I'm putting name dot pop and then print name. Now I'm running this. So what will pop will do is it will remove the last element. The element which is at the top of the list will be removed. Okay, this is what your pop will do. Okay, so now as for remove function, what will happen is name dot remove and which value you want to remove. For example, I want to remove Raj. Okay, now print name and this. So here you can see Raj has been removed. Okay, so it's a task to find the syntax for del. Are you able to understand the list?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you can even sort the list in descending to descending, descending to ascending. You can even sort the list here. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to perform some operations on the list. Okay. So let me delete this. So here also I'll be writing the name. For age, let's keep this. Okay. So what are the operations we are going to perform on the list? The first one is finding the minimum value, then maximum value, then sum. Okay, these functions we can be used in the list. Okay, so let's see how to do that. Print minimum of age. Okay, let's run this. So among the age, 23 is the minimum one. Likewise, you can use max. It will find the maximum value. Sum will add all the elements in the list. Okay. So now, if I want to check whether some element is presented in the list, what can I do? If I want to check whether some element is presented in the list. For example, I'm having 23, 45, 67, 89. Okay. I want to check whether the element 67 is presented in the list. What can I do? Okay. So for that, we will be using the operator, in operator. Okay. So print 67 in age. Okay. Let's run this. It says true. Okay. The in operator will, what it will do is it will check whether the element is present in the list or not. If it is present, it produces true, or else it will give false. You are able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next what we are going to do is, okay. So your next task is that here we have used the inbuilt function for min, max, and sum. Okay. So your next task is that you have to write the code to find the minimum value, maximum value, and sum without using the inbuilt function. Okay. So this is all the things we have discussed in the list. Do you have any doubts in the list?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on to the another topic, dictionary. Okay. So tuples and sets, you will be working on that. Okay. They both will be same. Some little changes will be there. Okay. Some of the differences you have to find out and submit the assignment on difference between list, tuple, sets, and dictionary. Okay. So as for the dictionary, okay. So dictionary is like a key value pair. In list, we have only used the single value. Okay. So in dictionary, what we will be doing is we will be using the key value pair. Like name, Arun, age 37. Likewise, we will be using the dictionary. Okay. So my dict equal to, so for list, which bracket we have used?
Square.
Square bracket we have used, right? So as for the dictionary, we will be using the curly brackets. Okay. So now we are using the key name and the value should be, then comma, age, colon, value should be, comma. Okay, then what can I add? Height, colon, 1.75. Okay, this is how you have to use the dictionary. Okay, so how can we add the elements in the dictionary? Any ideas?
Insert.
Insert. Okay. Any other thing? So in dictionary, we will be using two kinds to add the values. One is with the help of dictionary name. MyDict, the square bracket, you have to provide the key. Here, let's use weight. Then use the equal to, then add some weight, for example, 67. Okay. Now, print MyDict. Sorry. So this is the one way to add the elements in the dictionary. Okay. The another way is update. We can use the function update. Okay. My underscore dict dot update, and open the bracket and then open the curly bracket. There you can add the dictionary with the key and value pair. Okay, height, weight I have added. Right. So then our favorite fruit. Apple. Okay. Now run this program. Here your favorite fruit has been added here. Okay. So do you have any doubts here?
Ma'am, update is same as append we used in list.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Again here we can't add multiple values, only one.
Let's check that. Let's add some comma. Okay. Add comma. Open the curly bracket. Okay. And add. Check if it works. Favorite color. Colon. Pink. It says error. Okay. In update command, you can add only one argument. Okay. So what will happen if I remove this and simply add comma like this? What will happen? Now run this. So it will add. Okay. So you can add multiple values using the update command. Okay. So as for the deleting the value, you will be using the same pop command and delete function will be using the dictionary. Okay. So now to access the value from the list dictionary. In list, we have used the index value, right? So in dictionary, which we can use to access the values. Here it is the key, here it is the value. So it is the key value pair. So can we use index or which we can use? Any ideas?
Key value.
Same value. Okay. So we can use the key. In dictionary, we will be using the key to access the values. Okay. So for example, my underscore dict dot get inside the bracket, I'm providing name. Okay, let's print this. Now run this. So with the help of the key, you can access the elements in the list. Okay. So here also you can use your for loop, while loop to access each and every elements in the list. Okay. So then if you want to know what are the keys in your list, what are the keys in your list, you can use the function print my underscore dict dot case. 1 minute. Okay, now run this code. So it shows all the keys you have used in your dictionary. Okay, so likewise, if you want to know the values which have been stored in the keys, you can use values. Okay, you will get all the values stored in your dictionary. Okay, are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.